There could be a lot of reasons your portfolio isn't growing how you want it to. But be sure you're watching this, because the fifth mistake is the deadliest one that I see is like the number one thing that is across the board, what almost everyone does. You need to avoid this one. So be sure to hang in for that one. All right, so number one, not diversifying enough. Many times you'll see people just put all their chips in one place. Now, some people say, well, no, I'm not doing that. I put my money in my mutual funds, and my mutual funds are in multiple stocks and all over the place. In fact, I own 0.000000001% of Apple. So I'm good. No, you're not. Because diversification is not about the things that you're investing in. It's about the asset classes, about the areas that you're investing in. Now, granted, what you're investing in, if you have your money in stocks or mutual funds, bonds, things like that, even savings accounts and CDs, that's all paper assets. That's one asset class. That's not multiple asset classes, it's just one. So to give you an example, in 2008 as well as in 2022, in both periods of time, when the market went down, not only did you lose in stocks, but you also lost in bonds, which is supposed to be the safe place to have your money. And people say, wait, well, isn't when stocks go down, bonds are supposed to go up? Isn't that supposed to be the safe haven? Sometimes. But the problem is that you're not truly diversified. They're still in the same basket of goods, the same basket of assets, which are called paper assets. So that's not real diversification. Diversification would mean you're in these multiple asset classes. You're not just in paper assets. You might have real estate. And I don't mean real estate investment trust, which is a mutual fund, right? You're in actual real estate investments beyond just your home. You also have things like commodities, like gold and silver. You might also have business. You might be investing in your own business or somebody else's business. Again, not stocks. You're actually in the business. Understand that Warren Buffett diversifies greatly because he actually puts his money not in stocks, but he actually buys ownership interest in companies. Ownership interest to the point where he has actual influence over that company because he's on the board of directors, and in some cases, he is the boss. He is the guy that they all have to listen to, and his team's going in there to make sure that his investments don't go down. That is not what you do with a mutual fund. You cannot go to your money manager. By the way, even as a financial advisor, I couldn't even talk to the money managers. And you, as the investor, definitely don't talk to those money managers and say, hey, did you go to that board of directors meeting? And the answer is no. They're just putting their money in those stocks, having zero influence. So understand that's not real diversification. Diversification means you have money in multiple asset classes. All right, now I'm gonna go the opposite extreme. The second deadly mistake that you see happen is you over diversify. I see some of my clients that maybe they do actually diversify into multiple asset classes, but then they put too much money in two different places all at once. To give you an example, I have one client who, although he had a decent amount of money, he would put his money in different real estate investments, but he'd only put in like $50,000 here, $50,000 there, and he put it with everybody. Sometimes $25,000 here, $25,000 there. So he's putting in all these different places, in so many places that he could barely even manage it. And especially if he were to pass away, his wife would be overwhelmed because there's money in so many different places with different payout options and time frames and periods that it was just absolutely maddening. Even for me, it was hard to decipher because there was just so many things going on. So you can over diversify. And remember, you can also over diversify in one asset class. You can over diversify by putting your money in so many different places, but they're all still paper assets, right? So again, you gotta be careful not to put your money in too many places or have too little money invested in those places. That's going above and beyond the call of duty. Don't just put your money with not just one person, but multiple deals with one person and then put it with many different people. It's just gonna get too much to manage, and really, it doesn't really help your risk a whole lot when that's happening. Third mistake that people will make is they gamble in high-risk ventures. They're gambling in the stock markets because they got mutual funds or stocks. They got crypto. They might be going to some weird business ventures and things like that that maybe aren't proven or maybe are Ponzi schemes or not even legitimate in the first place. This is a problem that I see is that many people will just go for what seems like it's the best returning or the thing that seems hot in the moment. So many times, the reason you know that something's about to crash is because you'll hear someone that might be somebody who hasn't really had money in the past. Maybe it's somebody like from an old classmate from school that you know they don't have a whole lot of money, but they say, hey, I've heard this. Well, if you've heard anything, if it's hot information, a hot tip, this is one thing that I taught people when I used to teach people how to trade in the stock market. Whenever you got a hot tip, don't ever buy it. Don't ever buy on hot tips. So if you hear that the stock market is awesome right now, that's the time to not buy in the stock market. If you hear that crypto is awesome right now, don't buy into crypto. If you hear that this one business is amazing and hey, they pay you 10% a month, run away, okay? That is not a good opportunity for you. In fact, it's probably gonna get shut down anyways because there'll be regulators from the government coming in saying, that's not legit, that's phony, it's a scam. Heck, just stay away from that kind of stuff. Don't gamble on high risk ventures. That's, again, one problem. If you believe this one thing, you're doing it wrong. If you believe that high risk creates high returns, you are completely gonna lose your money, okay? The only people that taught you that high risk creates high returns are those that don't wanna take the high risk and wanna pass the risk on to you. You say, wait, Chris, I've been taught this my whole life. High risk creates high returns. Isn't that what naturally happens? Higher the risk, the higher the potential returns. Lower the risk, lower the returns. That's what you've been taught to believe. But do the math here, guys. This is risk. The definition of risk is chance of loss. If you have a 90% chance of losing, does that mean you have a 90% chance of winning? No. If you have a 90% chance of losing, you have a 10% chance of winning. It doesn't matter if it's going to be a big potential return. If it's only a 10% chance, you're gambling. It doesn't work. I'd rather go for the 10% chance of losing, or less even. I like to go for like the less than 5% chance of losing to get the 95% plus chance of winning. And there are ways to actually take less risk to get higher returns. But unfortunately, in the stock market world, when they really encourage you to gamble with your money, the companies that are having you do the investing, not them, they're taking your money and they'll invest it for you, but they're taking their guaranteed returns off of you. They're not gambling with their money at all. They're taking their guaranteed cash flow off your money, that 1% or 2% management fee that they're taking off the top, and then you take all of the market risk. They're the ones that told you that high risk creates high returns because they want you to take the risk so they don't have to. That's not cool, guys. It doesn't work. Every time I hear somebody that has that kind of mindset, when they tell me high risk creates high returns, I can guarantee that they're not gonna have money in the future. Or if they get money, they go big, they make big money on something, it's easy come, easy go, because the next thing that comes along, they'll gamble it and then they'll lose it. It's just like someone going to Vegas. They might make some money for a time, but then they go and gamble it again, and then it's all gone. That's what happens to people inevitably, and I've seen it for decades happen this way. So do not be that person that's a gambler. That kind of leads into my next point, is the shiny object syndrome. So many times I'll have people say, Chris, here's the next greatest thing. Check this out. Hey, there's this new technology that's out that will revolutionize this industry. You should invest in it. We're paying 25% returns on this thing. Awesome. Sounds great? Not for me. First off, if you're gonna make me the guinea pig, I don't wanna be the guinea pig. You be a guinea pig with your own money, and then after you've tested this for years and years, then you can come back to me after it's not new anymore. Now someone might say, yeah, but you get in at the ground floor. You gotta get in at the beginning. It's the best thing to do. And that's exactly what gamblers say. They get caught up with shiny object syndromes. And many times, especially when I see people, even as they come to us as clients and they realize there's this whole other world of alternative investments, that in the real estate space alone, you can invest not just in rental properties, but you can invest in syndications where you pool your money with other investors to buy apartment buildings or self-storage units, or invest in oil and gas, or you can do things with partnerships. You can be investing in raw land, you could be investing in warehouses, you could be investing in car washes and laundromats and franchises, all these things. And then they can't decide what to do. They're like, oh my goodness, it's all so amazing. And you're like, no, slow down, calm down. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do every investment. And yes, there's lots of great opportunities. There's an abundance of them. But you don't have to go in complete scarcity with this abundance. Some people actually, believe it or not, when there's an overabundance of things, people go into scarcity because there's too many options, too much to select. The great thing is if you have somebody to help guide you along that way, especially if you have shiny object syndrome, it's a good way to kind of eliminate those options so you can focus on what's actually best for you. And as I promised, the number one thing, the biggest killer that I see happening for people that's ruining their portfolios is they don't do this one thing. They don't invest for cash flow, for passive income. They invest for what they've been taught and trained to do for years by financial institutions and financial advisors that make money off of believing this lie that you gotta just accumulate money. Money doesn't need to be accumulated. You can have that accumulated money, whatever money you have, to let it generate passive income and cash flow. You can reinvest that cash flow in the passive income to keep growing, and that acceleration of money versus accumulation of money makes you money much faster. Again, time and time again, I see so many people, they'll get debt free, they'll save up hundreds of thousands, sometimes in the millions in all their savings accounts, and then they'll come to us saying, Chris, I did everything that Dave Ramsey taught and all these financial people are teaching, and yet I'm still in the rat race. I'm not financially free. What do I do? Stop investing for accumulating assets. It's not about your net worth. It's about what that net worth can do to produce cash flow and passive income. That is the secret that almost everybody misses, and that's why even people that are millionaires, as we just said in another video recently, people that are millionaires, 35% believe there will take a miracle for them to be able to retire. And they're millionaires. They have over $1 million to invest, and yet they feel like it's not enough. That is why. They're not investing for cash flow. They're investing to accumulate more money, hoping to not run out down the road. You do not want to be caught in that trap, guys. That's my number one advice for you. Hey, if this is good for you, keep watching. There are more mistakes that people make. Keep watching this series of money mistakes.